Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and if you're a regular to this channel, you probably already heard about the mega bundles going on over at the Unity Asset Store. If not, hey, there are some mega bundles going on over at the Unity Asset Store. I did a video on it, and in it I asked which ones you guys were most interested in me in doing a follow-up on, and today's answer, Maggio, is perhaps the most requested, and it's a very interesting item. So if you're interested, check out that earlier video. The mega bundles, basically there are two sets of Unity bundles going on right now for the Lunar New Year, the Daring Bundle and the Roaring Bundle. Now, what we're interested in today is in the Daring Bundle. And you see here, there's a decent number of things in this bundle. Some people are a little underwhelmed with the contents. Personally, I kind of like it because I'm a hoarder, and a lot of this stuff is completely new. So they weren't in previous bundles in the past, but the one we are looking at today is sadly in the top tier. So it's $40 to pick this one up, and it's this Project Maggio. But if we take a look at Maggio itself, you'll see its retail price is $150. So suddenly, that makes that $40 look like an absolute steal, and everything else you're getting here would basically be free on top of that. So if you're interested in Maggio that we were looking at today, it makes the whole bundle make sense. So let's jump right in, take a look at Maggio in action. And this is the demo scene that comes with it, running in the HDRP. And what Maggio is all about is interactive special effects. So think about it for first-person caster type effects, but this could be used for so many different things. If you want to do a firefighting game, you can use this for doing spreading fire and so on. And I'll showcase spreading fire first off. Look at this window in the background. I'm going to hit it with a fireball, and we're going to watch what happens to it. So basically, it burns and burns and burns. Now let's go do this poor treant out here. Let's do the same thing. We're going to light him on fire, and yeah, he's going to burn. And in some things, it'll actually burn down to a cinder with him. And now this is just one of the examples. So we've got a plant-based one, which kind of spreads a plant effect over whatever it hits. So here you see you get a spreading of plants going out. By the way, all of this is customizable. You can provide your own effect graphs that will do the same sort of thing. So we got a petrify. I find this one a little underwhelming. It turns things to stone, but the good thing is it puts out fire. As you can also see, you can apply multiple effects to a single object in the scene. And as we're going to see in a minute, it's really easy to work with these. We also have a melt effect. This one is probably my favorite. So watch this. It's like a disintegration. So we hit, he goes, and then he melts into sand. So let's go melt some other things. Let's go melt our chair over here, which again had the effects on it. And watch this one. It's got a portal-like effect. It's not permanent, but we actually punch a hole through the wall with that particular effect. So melt is by far my favorite of the effects, but it showcases what kind of things you're capable of doing here. And then finally we have electric, which is And then we have a freeze effect, which kind of spreads out. There's also splash-based versions of these, so you don't have to apply them directly to an entity. You can have these go to like splash on the ground. So if you're just doing quick effects, there is details in there for handling. Oh, do we not have fire on that tree? Let's try this tree over here. Yeah, so you see fire hits, fire spreads. There's actually audio you can attach as well to the effects and so on. Here we are back in the editor portion of this display. And now what we're going to do is show you how Maggio is actually used. You're going to notice here, you have this Maggio object that's created for you. Controls the overall things that are going on. As I mentioned earlier on, you can also have splash effects. That way, if you just, it didn't actually hit something, it's just something effect you want to throw out in the world, like say you're just casting and it's missing an object, it's not necessarily interacting with something. You can do that via splash effects. You've got all the shaders are defined here, the various different pieces. It comes with a number of them out of the box. And we'll go ahead and take a look at this treant over here. And you're going to notice it has a Maggio material animation settings attached to it. And the Maggio shader attached to it. So this ultimately is the thing that you use to control things. Over here, we've also got some as well. So everything in the scene that can be Maggioed, so see Maggio object, this can have multiple effects applied to it. So you have the flame, the melt, and so on and so forth. Now, all of these effects come with it. So let's go ahead and see the effects we got going on here. We got the high quality and the originals. And you come in here, you're going to see shader graphs are used to control these. So there's one for mesh and one for skin mesh. So you see here the melt effect, the one that I like the best. You can see it. Let's open it up here in the shader graph, or what's the name of this? I think it's shader graph. We'll let this open up. Give it a second. And you can see what is actually going on controlling that particular effect. So you can create your own effects like so. There's also a couple of extra effects on the, there's a pack with 2 more effects, one for poison gas, one for something else. All right, so here we go. Let's, come on. All right, so here we go. This is our a graph controlling this output. So you can see it's the standard visual effects graph going on here, and everything that is controlling it. So you can create your own using just the standard built-in visual effects graphs from Unity and extend things that way. So again, there are the original ones and the high definition version ones as well. This does work, by the way, with the HDRP and the ERP. So whichever pipelines you want to work with, it works just fine. Now, if you want to actually integrate this yourself, it is really quite simple. So here we are in our scene, and I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to add we'll add a cube into the scene. All right, there we go. So here is our cube, like so. And now, if we want to, okay, why is my cube looking awfully transparent? Where'd my cube go? What's wrong with my cube? Oh, I'm below the floor. All right, there we go. So there is my cube, and now if I want to make it magical, basically I find it over here, I right-click it, and we have Maggio convert. So we go to a simple Maggio object, like so, and then you pick the materials that you want to convert to Maggio shaders, and go ahead and say yep, and now it is selected. Now, annoyingly, it also deselects whatever you had going on, which is a bit irritating. So then you got to go back and find your object again, and then what you're going to find is you now have the Maggio object effect script attached to it. Again, obviously, if you wanted to do multiple effects on the same object, you could come in here and select the other one, multi-effect Maggio object. That's what we saw for this chair over here. That's the multiple effects you can see going on over here. So now let's go back over to our cube. You can see it in action. You got control over the class. So you got a number of different options right there in terms of effect class, how it works. And then the key thing here is you're going to come over to the VFX. Over here at the top level, you can see here we got flame now attached to this guy. And I can go ahead and I can control a number of different settings of all of these effects, all of the things like the smoke generated, the flame being generated, and you got another control over here. You've also got control over the sound effects attached to it. So if you want, you can have a sound effect applied right here. So basically just drag in a sound effect that you wish to apply when this effect is on or when it is spreading. So if you're doing fire, you could have a different sound for burning and for spreading of fire. But come back over here. If you want to preview your effect, just go ahead here, do preview, and that's how easy it is to apply Maggio effects to 3D objects inside of the Unity game engine, which is pretty cool. So again, if we want to switch that out, so use one of the other effects, such as the melting effect, switch over to the melt. You're going to notice all of the settings change. So we can change the dust, the speed. Again, we got control of the top level system over here, and we can apply special sort of sound effects to it. You also have control over the Maggio shader that is used, or you could provide your own if you wish to have a different shader working on here, and we could preview it. And there you see the end result. Now, this one isn't set up quite as nicely as this one was, so we're not getting a full dissolve. That's something you would have to play with for the settings over here. But you have all of the controls here. Is it this one right there? Let's do that. Change that to a 1. Let's see. No, you do not want to do that. All right, let's put that back to 0. Okay, so if we go to 0.1, what does it do? No, I don't know how to get that one to 100%, but you basically got to come in and figure out from the various different settings that are available. But you can see to use their built-in stuff, super simple. Basically, if you want fire effects, lightning effects, freezing effects, dissolving effects, and so on. So those are the ones out of the box. So flame, melt, petrify, plantify, electrocute, and then freeze. And then the flame is kind of interesting because you can actually have it so that it blends or spreads over time and so on. You got maximum spread settings, so you can control how far it will spread. So if you need to have a firefighting game, you wanted to stimulate spreading of fire, this pack gets you 95% of the way there. It's a very versatile pack in that regard. By the way, there's also the other set here, so the Maggio original, the high quality. Here you've got a higher quality version of the flame, the plant, and the freeze effect. So yeah, if you want higher fidelity versions that run a bit slower, you do have that other pack as well. And like I said, there's one other pack in the asset store. I think it was $20. It gave you access to poison gas and one other thing. And of course, you can create your own, or you can select your own prefab effect if you've created one, and you can extend it that way. And of course, there's codability available for these things. And if you come back here and we take a look at Maggio, you will find there is documentation here on how to use it. And then, of course, the API that's available. So if you want to actually incorporate this into your programmatically controlling thing, everything in the API is documented in here as well. So there is definitely a programmatic side to this as well. And on the whole, it's a very cool asset for the most part. It's very focused in what it does, but it does it very, very well. So if you want to add, again, spell-based effects to your game, super, super simple. By the way, getting Maggio up and going with another example, also super simple. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the scenes, the default scene, like so. And all right, load. Come on, you can do it. All right, there we go. So here, this is the default HDRP or the scene that you get, and you can load things in. So as you can see, no Maggio effects built in here. But if you want to use Maggio in your own project, so for example, let's say I want this thing to burn. I just come in here, so you're going to go again. No Maggio going on here. So we've selected the ball. I'm going to come in here, Maggio convert, simple effect, convert. So, and boom, we now have a flaming ball. And you'll notice it automatically added the Maggio engine. You can control the settings here. It's got the effects pack, the high quality and the standard were applied in automatically. But you can see if you want to get Maggio working in your own game, it's literally just apply one effect to an object in your world and kaboom, you can make it burn like you saw there. So super simple to use, super simple to get up and installed. And yeah, an interesting one for sure. Again, this was the most requested from the Daring bundle. In my humble opinion, I actually think the Roaring bundle is probably the more overall interesting, although people are also interested in Fluxy. I'll probably do a follow-up video on that as well. But what we looked at today is, again, Maggio. I don't see much else at that tier level to look at. Maybe the Bullet, nah, probably not. But Fluxy has definitely been requested. But again, of the two, the ones that I find probably more interesting is the Roaring bundle. In terms of the two packages that are out there, but mostly because certain things jump out to me, such as the Any-Portrait, Train Composer, and so on. But they're both definitely interesting bundles. They're not the massive big name assets like we've seen in some previous bundles, so they're definitely not going to be for everybody. But again, if you find a single item on here that seems useful to you, both bundles are definitely a good deal. And obviously, if you find nothing of interest, there is not much worth here. But again, this bundle is less than a third of the price for Maggio by itself. Maggio is one of the most expensive items in this bundle. So at 150 bucks, it is literally the most expensive in this particular bundle. Whereas I think if we go back to Roaring, there is an item that is slightly more expensive. So I think there was a $200 regular MSRP. The African Big Pack is regularly 200 bucks. But otherwise, yeah, let me know if there's anything else here you want to cover. I'm going to probably look at Any-Portrait because this one looks really cool. It's like Spriter or Spine. It's just got a really stupid name for some reason, and that doesn't tell you what it's all about. I also want to point out Suimano. I may cover this one, but just to be aware, this does not work with the HDRP and the URP, and this was actually in a previous bundle. It's one of the few items that was in a previous bundle, so do be aware of that. Check your assets to make sure that you don't already have it. And also for any one of these things, if you're using HDRP, the standard render pipeline, or the universal render pipeline, make sure that you have compatibility from the assets you're buying, obviously, before you pick it up. And if there's anything else you want to see me cover, please do let me know. I will do my best. But today, that was Maggio. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Talk to you all later. Goodbye.